This Bitcoin address holds real money. Billions of dollars sit behind addresses that look just like it. And every Bitcoin miner on Earth working together already performs enough computation every hour to theoretically threaten them. To understand why, we need to understand what an address starting with the digit 3 actually is. Bitcoin receivers can attach conditions to spending, signatures, multiple signatures, time locks, arbitrary logic. These scripts can balloon to thousands of bytes, but senders shouldn't have to carry that weight. They're just paying you. The elegant fix introduced in 2012 as pay-to-script hash is a commitment. The receiver writes a redeem script describing the spending rules, then hashes it down to 20 bytes. That tiny hash is what the sender commits to. The full script appears only later when the coins are spent. Here's the mechanism concretely. Bob wants 2 of 2 multi-sig. His desktop wallet and his hardware device must both sign. He writes the redeem script listing both public keys and OP check multi-sig. He runs it through hash 160, that's SHA-256, followed by RIPEMD 160, producing 20 bytes. That hash goes into a fixed output template, OP hash 160, the 20-byte hash, OP equal. This template must appear exactly. Nodes recognize it as P2SH. Note that P2SH isn't limited to multi-sig. It wraps any script, time locks, hash preimages, arbitrary conditions. Multi-sig is simply the most common use. When Bob spends the coins later, his input reveals 2 things: the signatures satisfying the script and the full redeem script itself. Every node hashes that revealed script with hash 160 and compares it to the commitment in the original output. If the hashes match, the node executes the revealed script with the signatures. Match plus valid execution equals a valid spend. The 20-byte hash is encoded for humans using base 58 check, a checksummed encoding with version byte 5. That's what produces addresses starting with 3. Here's that address again, decoded. It starts with 3, signaling P2SH. It's base 58 check encoded, a compact alphanumeric format with a built-in checksum that catches typos. Inside sits a 1-byte version prefix, 0x05, and the 20-byte script hash. The whole security of the funds rests on that 20-byte commitment. P2SH works beautifully as long as the hash itself holds up. And there is one attack where it almost doesn't hold up. Let's ask the uncomfortable question. What if an attacker finds a different script that hashes to the same 20 bytes? 3 attacks matter here. First, pre-image resistance. The attacker only sees the hash and tries to invent any input that matches it. For a 160-bit hash, that takes about 2 to the 160th operations. Safe. Second pre-image resistance. The input is already fixed by the victim and the attacker hunts for a different input that produces the same hash. Also 2 to the 160th. Still safe. But then there's collision resistance. Here, the attacker influences the input itself, searching for any 2 inputs at all that collide. Thanks to the birthday bound, this takes only about 2 to the 80th operations. That is a dramatically smaller number, and it is the one we have to worry about. That gap comes from the birthday bound, a classic result, stating that finding any collision in an n-bit hash takes roughly 2 to the n over 2 work, not 2 to the n. For our 160-bit hash 160, that's 80 bits of collision security, not 160. Here's the scenario. 3 parties set up a multi-sig. The attacker is one of them and contributes last. Before submitting a public key, they grind variants in secret, testing 2 script versions side by side, an honest script using everyone's keys, and an evil script that pays only them. They tweak a nonce or swap keys, hashing each pair until 2 versions collide on the same 20 bytes. Then they publish the honest version. Everyone finds the address, believing the script is shared. When the attacker wants to steal, They broadcast a span, revealing the evil script instead. Right? Nodes hash it, see the matching 20 bytes, and accept it. How much work is this? Right? 2 to the 80 hashes. The entire Bitcoin mining network performs roughly 2 to the 80 hashes every hour. That's not a coincidence, it's a warning. An important caveat, existing mining ASICs compute double SHA-256, not the RIPE-MD 160 of SHA-256 chain that hash 160 uses. They can't be pointed directly at this attack. The threat isn't today's miners. It's that 2 to the 80 work is now demonstrably within reach of specialized hardware. The economic impossibility argument has quietly died. 80 bits of security was fine in 2012 when the Bitcoin network barely existed. In 2024, with purpose-built hashing hardware everywhere, it's an unsettlingly thin margin. And that's exactly why the protocol moved on. The fix is structural. Use a 256-bit hash. Collision resistance jumps to 2 to the 128, which would take today's entire Bitcoin mining network roughly 32 billion years. That's more than twice the age of the universe, which is about 13.8 billion years. This is exactly why newer address formats exist. SegWit version 0 introduced P2SH, which uses a 32-byte SHA-256 script hash. Taproot's P2TR carries the same 256-bit security margin. New wallets should use them. The broader lesson is this. Cryptographic safety margins aren't fixed. They erode as compute grows. Bitcoin's address format is a living example of a protocol that committed to a number, watched the ground shift beneath it, and adapted.